They say that if you're ever out there, on the edge of the woods, and you hear metal dragging along the pavement, don't look back, because the moment you do, he knows your face. Tonight, let me tell you why. For decades, the story of the Hookman has drifted across cities, states, and entire countries, whispered at campfires, scribbled in old newspapers, and passed from one terrified teenager to another. But the legend didn't start with lovers in a parked car, and it wasn't born from a ghost story. It began with something much darker. The earliest reports described a man who escaped from a remote psychiatric hospital. He had one arm, and the other replaced with a crude metal hook, sharpened so severely that doctors believed he'd reshaped it himself while locked in solitary confinement. No one knows how he broke out. No one knows how he crossed miles of forest in the dark. All they know is that the killings started the very same night. Our story today follows Evan and Laura, a couple driving home after a long evening on the far side of town. The night was cool, the air heavy with mist, and the highway nearly empty, the kind of quiet where even the radio static felt too loud. They turned onto an old service road, looking for a shortcut. Just a few minutes in, Evan felt his phone buzz with a notification. Breaking news. Authorities warn residents to stay indoors. A dangerous escapee is believed to be in the region. Suspect is missing his right hand and should be considered armed and extremely dangerous. Laura shifted uneasily in her seat. Missing his hand, she muttered. What kind of weapon does someone without a... She didn't finish the sentence, because right then, something metallic scraped against the side of their car. Shh. Long, slow, deliberate. Evan slammed the brakes. The car skidded, headlights carving a bright path into the trees. They saw nothing. No shape, no shadow, just endless woods. But in the side mirror, a faint glint of metal flashed before disappearing into darkness. Legends say the Hookman doesn't kill for revenge. And not because he hates couples, or teens, or travelers. He hunts because he listens for fear. He thrives on the moment panic blooms. The instant someone doubts what they heard, whispers, "Did you hear that?" Fear calls to him. Fear feeds him. That scraping along the door, it wasn't an attack. It was a warning, a way of saying, "I found you." Evan tried restarting the car, but the engine sputtered, coughing like something was stuck inside it. Laura begged him to lock the doors. The forest pressed around them like a living thing, a tunnel of darkness with no sound except their shaking breaths. Then, there it was again. Drag, drag, drag. The hook. Closer this time. Closer than before. Evan grabbed his flashlight and stepped out despite Laura's screams. "Just stay inside. I'll check it." The door closed. Silence swallowed everything. Laura waited. 10 seconds. 20. 40. No footsteps. No Evan. Nothing. She reached for her phone. No signal. She lifted her eyes toward the windshield and saw a shape moving behind the car. Slow, tall, one arm, and the other, gleaming like a curved blade. The Hookman wasn't looking at her. He was dragging his weapon along the trunk, testing the metal, savoring the sound like a musician tuning an instrument. Laura held her breath, but the Hookman lifted his head and smiled. Laura dove into the driver's seat, slamming the locks, and twisted the key again and again until the engine finally roared to life. She floored the gas, shooting down the narrow road. Relief flooded her, until she saw him in the mirror. He wasn't running, he was walking. Yet somehow he wasn't getting smaller behind her, as if the road was pulling her backward, or bending space itself. The radio crackled with static. A voice, distorted, distant, broke through. "Don't look at him." Laura shut off the radio, hands trembling on the wheel. But curiosity, the same curiosity that fuels every urban legend, pulled her gaze toward the mirror. And there he was, closer, so close. With one slow swing, he dragged the hook across the back window. Scree, yee, yeech. Glass cracked, lines branched across it like webbing. The legend says the Hookman has one rule: if you look at him too long, he becomes real. Not a story, not a rumor. Real enough to touch you. real enough to follow you. Laura forced herself to stare at the road ahead, tears streaking her face. She whispered, "This isn't real. It's just a story. It's just a story." But the story didn't stop the sound of metal digging into the roof. Didn't stop the slow, crushing dent above her head. Didn't stop the whisper outside her window. "I found you." The service road ended at an old wooden bridge stretching over a dark ravine. Laura didn't slow down. The hook man, climbing along the roof like a spider, drove his hook straight through the windshield, inches from her face. She yanked the wheel. The car spun, wood exploded, glass shattered, the world tipped sideways. And then, silence. By dawn, officers found the car crushed at the bottom of the ravine. But here's the part they don't like to talk about. They found Evan, injured but alive, wandering the forest in shock. They found Laura's door torn open from the outside, as if by a massive blade. But they never found Laura. The last thing Evan remembered was hearing a voice whisper in the dark right before he blacked out. 2 short words. She looked. The hook man isn't just a killer. He's a warning. A reminder that some stories survive because they're true. Some legends spread because something, or someone, keeps them alive. And those strange scratches on your car, that metallic tapping at night, that shape you swear you saw in the mirror on a dark road. Maybe it's nothing. Or maybe he just hasn't chosen you yet. So, next time you're driving down a quiet road and you hear that faint dragging sound behind you, don't turn around. Don't check the mirror. And whatever you do, don't look.